Grab a cannoli, settle in, and let's embark on this delightful journey together. In each episode, we'll feature interviews with fascinating guests, share authentic recipes, and dive into the history that shaped the Italian-American community. But most importantly, we want to hear from you. Call in, share your stories, and let's create a community that celebrates the essence of La Dolce Vita. You can also
Discover
catch our
Paradox
podcast
Experience Las
episodes
Vegas.
for a taste of Italy. Buongiorno, and welcome to the Italian-American radio show and podcast. Whether you're sipping an espresso, indulging in a plate of pasta, or just tuning in from your favorite pizzeria, we're here to bring you the flavors, traditions, and stories that make up the heart of the Italian-American experience. From the bustling streets of Little Italy to the family kitchens where recipes are passed down through generations, we'll explore it all. So grab a cannoli, settle in, and let's embark on this delightful journey together. In each episode, we'll feature interviews with fascinating guests, share authentic recipes, and dive into the history that shaped the Italian-American community. But most importantly, we want to hear from you. Call in, share your stories, and let's create a community that celebrates the essence of La Dolce Vita. You can also catch our podcast episodes for a taste of Italy wherever you are. So whether you're Nana's favorite or just discovering your roots, get ready for a radio experience that's amore, right here on the Italian-American radio show and podcast. Andiamo! Stay tuned for an hour of cultural delights coming your way on the Italian-American radio show and podcast.
Good afternoon. I hope you're having a nice Sunday afternoon here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm in the studio talking to Justin, and he wanted to know what I had planned for today. You know, did I have any people that I wanted to actually call? And I said, no, not really, I don't, because of the presidential debate. I want some people to call in here if they feel like it. If not, I want to talk about the debate, what I saw, what I watched, and what I saw was what I already knew, but so did a lot of other people. Our number here is 702-221-7283. 702-221-7283. You can call anytime you like. In any event, it was some show. As a matter of fact, I was watching it again this morning. I watched it over. I didn't get to watch it all, but I watched a lot of it, and it was as bad for the president today as it was the other day, Thursday night. And again, you know, when you watch it, you can hear Trump a couple times. You know, you could tell that Trump is feeling sorry for him. You know, Trump is trying not to hurt him, and he pretty much says that in his own way. You know, where he's saying it's really not his fault. You know, and he does say that in his own way. And if you listen to it again, you'll see what I'm talking about. And nobody wants to see the president like that. Nobody wants to see an old man like that. It's horrible. You know, it's a terrible thing, dementia. And it comes on slowly, very slowly, and it affects people a lot of different ways, you know, and I wish they would have a cure for it. I don't know what they have for it today. I don't think much of anything, you know, maybe some drug to keep you alert a little bit more, but I don't think they have anything that can cure it. But in any event, the problem with Thursday's show, for everybody that was watching it, whether you were a Trump fan or you were a presidential fan, the problem was if you were a Trump fan, you were saying to yourself, geez, the ex-president, everything that he's pretty much been saying is true. And probably 90% of it is really true. The cover-ups have been terrible. And I don't mean the old cover-ups. I'm talking about the new ones. Because they're covering the president up. As of today, they're still doing it. And it's a horrible thing to do that. And you could tell on that stage that Trump was very uncomfortable. And but he had to do what he did because Biden really got crazy a few times on that stage. He got wacky, and Trump put him in his place. And if you watch it again, you can see. I'll tell you what I saw. I saw a little boy being scolded. That's what I saw. When Trump gave him a rebuttal, he looked away and he looked down, or he just had a look on his face that he was sorry. That's what I saw. I saw a little boy's face, and then of course sometimes he would come out of that and he'd get a little vibrant, and he'd get a little antsy pantsy and crazy, but he did more of the other than coming out and being normal. He really did, and it's a shame. But we got to get to the realization of things. What Trump said, and we could take one thing at a time, but I'm going to start with something that's very, very important. And it's very dangerous. Trump said what Biden is doing at this border is really criminal. And the truth of it is criminal. You have these illegals coming across this border, and they're murdering people. They're hurting people bad enough for the people to have to go to the hospitals, stab wounds, and beat with pipes and baseball bats and machetes and you name it. But you have to understand where these people came from. You have to put that with it. I'm not saying to feel sorry for them, because I don't feel sorry for them at all. But that's the life that they led. They are lived, I should say. They were living that life, and that's how they handled situations. And so what's the difference? They come here, and even though they're given everything carte blanche, pretty much, that mentality is still in their head. They're still going to do the same thing that they've been doing wherever they lived, wherever they grew up. Now, I'm not saying all of them. It's not all of them, but it sure is a lot of them. And what Trump said, and what quite a few other people have said, even Democrats have said, listen, you came across the border illegally, knowing that you were coming across the border, and it was against the law of the United States of America. And you want to be a citizen? How does that work? How do you do that? There are probably, we ought to look it up. When you get time, you'll look something up for me. You know how many people there are trying to get into the country? Look it up on Google. How many people are trying to get into the country legally? I'd like to know that. There's so many things I'd like to know. I burned my Google out looking it up. But in any event, you have thousands and thousands of people from all over the world that want to come and be an American. They want to be an American. They would love to live here. They would love to bring their culture here. Anything you see?
250,000.
250,000. Well, there you go. How's that? How's that for a madness? You want to talk about madness?
Oh, that was just December of 2023.
Oh, was just what?
In December of 2023. That's 1 month.
That's how many wanted to come legally?
Legally.
250,000. Well, you're allowing in millions, and you have people that have educations, they have money, they have family here, they have no criminal records. Why wouldn't you want that? Why wouldn't you want them to come in? Because there's a reason why, but I'm throwing that out. Why wouldn't you want that? You know, if I had, let's do this a different way. How about if we did it this way? You have family members. One is from Guatemala and one is from Honduras. The people from Guatemala are educated people. They live very nicely down there, but they're not crazy about the politics. They'd love to come to America. And then you have Honduras, family, same thing. You got family, but they're a little crazy. You know, they're into the drugs, they're into murder, and they want to come here too, and they both want to use you as a stepping stone to get into the country. But this is legal now. Which one would you sign your name to? Would it be the first one or the second one? I mean, I know who I would. I wouldn't want anybody coming into using my name and my family's name and coming to visit me that was into drugs and into murder and into thefts and rapes. And why would you want that? Why would you want to bring that to your country when you have another faction of family that are educated, that are clean cut and have no criminal prosecutions at all, and they have a family that's been educated for years, but they want to get out of that country because of the politics? Wouldn't you bring them in first? I mean, I would do that. The other thing you have that's really, really bad is that the Americans are not stupid people. The Americans are smart people. What happened the other night is they got caught. See, all the people that and when I'm saying people, there probably are some Republicans that go along with these Democrats, but these Democrats that have been boasting and screaming about how great a job the president has been doing and how adept he is to being normal, and that he could just he can handle any situation and answer any question. Now, they've been saying this now for years, and there probably was a time when he could, but it's slowly disintegrating. I mean, you know, he is, and it's, again, I think that was the word that President Trump used. It's not his fault. And I believe that's what he said. It's not his fault. And the reality of it is, it's not. It's not his fault. If, you know, it's not, somebody has dementia or is getting dementia, it's not their fault if they do something stupid or they do something wrong or they say something wrong. It's not their fault. It's a sickness. They're sick. It's the truth of it. And you can say it whatever way you want to say it, you know, but it's a sickness. So you have people that keep okaying this kind of politics. It's the only way you could say it, because that's what it is. They're okaying this type of politics to the detriment of the United States of America. You can't keep doing this. You can't keep saying that everything is okay when it's not. You know, it's you have a family. One guy in the family is costing the family a lot of money all the time. He gets in trouble all the time. He's always got a problem, and he's always got the family broke. You think the family should pick up for them all the time and say it's okay, it's okay? Now, naturally, a lot of them will in certain cases, but sooner or later they're going to say, no, enough is enough, except for maybe his mother or her mother, that they won't, unless they're true to the rest of their family, and they're going to say enough is enough. And when enough is enough, it has to stop. You have to stop it. You cannot continue this on. And what he's done, and he didn't like it, and you could see it in his face when Trump said that these 3 young girls were murdered on his watch. That was because of him. Well, the truth of it is, it was because of him. It was because he allowed these people to come into this country that these 3 little girls are dead. Or 3 women are dead. Let me say that. Two girls and a married woman. And that's not all. I mean, there's more. I mean, just last night there was another one. This is happening every day. They've been hiding it. The Democrat parties in these cities, they've been hiding all this terrible, terrible news. And now that it's catching up with them because of what's happened. You know, the cat's out of the bag, and the people are saying to themselves, we don't need this anymore. Well, we need to get for real here. We need to get honest with ourselves and say, listen, this country is in sad shape at the moment. People are not working. People are losing their homes. Do you know how many, you're here listening to the show in Vegas? Go on your Google and find out how many houses are up for sheriff sales and how many houses have been already, the people can't pay the mortgages. They're underwater. See how many? You're here right in Vegas. That'll open your eyes to what's going on, because what's happening right here in this town is horrible. Forget about California and Arizona and Colorado and places like that. Right here, where everything is supposed to be really great. You know, everything is great because this town does so well. This town does so well because it's a casino town and a tourist town. Other than that, this town is nothing. If you took that away, this town would blow away in the dust because there is no manufacturing here. There is no industry here to speak of. So what you have here is you have people that work for the casinos and work for the hotels, and as long as that economy is out there where people can come and spend their money in the hotels and spend their money in the casinos, you're going to be fine. But the moment that drops off, like it has, this is what you're going to see. You think all of these hotels being blown up are because the economy's doing so well, and they were doing so well that they decided to blow it up. Are you kidding? You have all of these businesses going out of business. You're right here in this town. All these office buildings. Look, next time you're in your car driving to work, take a look at these office buildings. They're all empty. Why are they empty? Because all these businesses went under. Why? They went under in the last 4 years. That's when they went under. When you may not want to be honest about it, but when President Trump was in, things were great. People were making money hand over fist. Everybody was happy. Everybody was making a buck. And isn't that what it's about? Isn't that what your life is about here in the United States? Making enough money to be able to do the things that you want to do. And what are the things you want to do? You want to be able to take care of your family if you have one. You want to make sure that you can feed them. You want to make sure that you can put a nice roof over their head. You want to make sure that you can send them to a nice school. You can make sure that they have the right clothing. How do you do that? You do that because you have a decent job, or a job, period. You got to have a job, maybe 2 to make that happen. Well, the people that have 2 jobs today, they need an extra one to pay the bills. That's the truth. And the reason that is because what this president and his politician, Democratic Party has done to the country, and they've destroyed it. They really have. They've destroyed all the cities. You go, just nobody wants to go. I'm talking here, somebody today, I'm coming in from Chicago because things are so wonderful in Chicago. He's going to go pick his kid up because the kid don't want to be there anymore. The kid don't want to be there anymore because the kid could say anything he wants to say about it. But the truth of it is, he wouldn't be leaving it if it was any good. That's the truth, because you don't leave anywhere where you're making money and you're happy. And how do you become happy? You're making money. Money makes you happy. Money does not make you sad, doesn't depress you. It makes you happy because you're able to do the things you want to do. And you're able to do it with people that you want to do it with. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse or anything like that. I watched a show last Thursday night. It wasn't anything like I thought it was going to be. It really, truly wasn't. I said that to my brother because he asked me, and I said, "No, I didn't. I don't. I meant it in this way. I thought Donald Trump was really going to lay into him, but he didn't. He gave him a break, and that's exactly what all the news stations are saying over this weekend. That Donald gave him a break. Donald did not hit him hard at all when he could have quite a few times. He could have really put it to him, but he didn't. And he didn't because of what he said. He doesn't, and I think Donald said this 2 times. He doesn't know what he's saying, what he's doing. He just doesn't know. And that's the truth. Some of it he doesn't know. But you got to feel, you have to feel for the president. I do. I do. I mean, it's terrible when you have that kind of a. It's only going to get worse. I mean, it's not where he's going to get better. He's not going to get better. That's the sad part of it all. When you have something like that, that only gets worse. What do you have to look forward to? Why would you be kind all the time, or be feeling peppy all the time? You wouldn't. You'd be miserable. Most of the time, you'd be miserable. And supposedly, he is in the White House. He's a very miserable man. Well, that's why. It's when you're sick. Who's not miserable when they're really sick? If you're really sick, I don't mean you got sniffles or anything like that. You got a little cold. I'm talking about if you're really sick, you're not miserable? Of course you are. And that same thing applies to him. And what's happened to that? He's an older man. He's 80 years old. And that's the truth of it. So, it's sad. And
No, he was actually pretty
we have
I mean, he did come on.
a lot of people that
that Biden-
thinking about
but yeah,
what happened there and how it happened and what was said and how it was said. And,
yeah,
you have even the
yeah, I know.
the commentators. They got a bad rap the whole time coming into it. But then all of a sudden, when they were on, I don't think they did anything wrong. I don't think they did anything bad
Of course.
to anybody. I think they were very, very professional. And so the,
I got you.
I mean, that's
Give me a second.
that's what I think. The
JD.
okay, we got what's
JD.
JD's on?
Yeah.
Okay, well let's see what JD. Yeah, let me put these on, huh? Put my earphones on. Put my ears on so I could hear, huh? Okay, JD, you there? Buongiorno, buongiorno. How you doing today, buddy? There you go. There you go. And so what are you doing? You're just sitting around having a cold one and watching a game, or? Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much for that. I was thinking of that today. I don't know why, but I got that thought in my head to go get a couple good books and start reading it. I used to love to read, and I stopped when I got married, but that's a good reason to stop, right? There you go. I'm already. I like history, basically. I like history. Yeah. I like history and true stories. And did you get to watch any of the debate the other night? Rain Man. Oh my God. Well, yeah. Yeah, it was horrible. Yeah, yeah, I think you may be right about that. I think if the whole family's over there in Camp David, they're all there for a reason. But I think, yeah, well, I think what would be a good idea. Uh, this is my personal opinion. I think what would be a good idea is for them to have somebody that has some strength with Trump that can talk to Trump in a nice way and get his attention, and talk to Trump and tell him, listen, if you get in as the president, which you probably will, you have to drop all of the anything against the Bidens. You can't go after them. You can't go after the kids or him, and just no, he didn't. But Hillary wasn't as yeah. Well, that's their way of staying in power and just lying to people. It's a constant lie with them, and but the lying is over now. I don't believe the people are. Yeah, not enough people are going to believe him anymore. I mean, they lost millions of people the other night. Millions, not thousands, millions. Well, but they have to have some kind of a track record, Jay. You know what I mean? They got to have some. You can't. They must have a track record, and none of them are going to have a track record like Trump. And they're not going to believe him. They're not going to be that believable because they're Democrats. I think the Democrats have shot themselves in the foot about 14 times Thursday night. I mean, I just do. I don't see them coming out of this. What I see is if they don't, somebody has to get to Trump and his people and say, you got to forget about any kind of vendetta. We know that this guy, he did it Thursday night. Did you see the way he was talking to Trump? and the things he said to Trump, uh, oh yeah, I mean, it was just insulting. Well, listen, if in reality, if that were me, and he was talking to me that way, and what he did to his kids, what he did to Trump's kids, I mean, he just badgered those kids to death, and and the family, and how about his wife, who's got more class in her toes than any of those politicians' wives. You know what I mean? When she wakes up in the morning and gets out of bed, she looks better than any of those politicians' wives, and that's why they hate her. They can't stand her. Yeah. Yeah. Well, what I was thinking is to just move on. You know what I mean? And just move. Yeah. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Well, there's a little something to that too. I was coming in, and on the radio there was some things with the that's happening in California with the Israeli people, the Jewish people out there being They weren't even allowed into a synagogue with these Palestinians protesters. Now you see, that should not be allowed at all. And the truth of it is, what you need. Do you remember the Chicago, what Daley did at the Chicago convention? Do you remember you remember how he? Well, that's how they should be treating all of these people. They should be treating them that way. Don't say nothing. You go in there with the clubs, you club the hell out of them, and throw them in a friggin' wagon on their head. Pile them in there like trash, because that's what they are. Well, he was probably Republican. Don't let him at the door. Grab him. But in any event, that's a Democratic town. That's what Manhattan is. And you. No, I got tied up with something else, and I ended up watching. Then it was too late, and I wanted to watch the show where I was, and I just said, So I thought it was okay though. It was all right. Yeah. Did they? I wanted to go, and I knew if I went to this other place, it was going to take me time to finish what I was doing, and that's exactly what happened, and then I wasn't going to get there in time, so I blew it off. But were there a lot of people? Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen. Yeah. God, yeah, I know that name, Pat Cassell. Yeah, yeah, that's how I know. Yeah, that's how I know Pat. Yeah, yeah. So he said they're going to have another one at the next event. Oh, that's nice. See, that would be nice to go see. Yeah, if you could get in there, you probably wouldn't be able to get in. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There you, there you go, Gary. We're waiting for you. JD, thank you, pal. You too, my man. Bye bye. He's a character, huh? Yeah. Well, he had a lot of really good points that I had forgotten that he watched, and well, you can't remember them all. But where I was going with the Trump forgiveness is because suppose he didn't forgive. Suppose he got in the office and he didn't forgive. There's a lot of people in a lot of trouble. I mean, he could cause a lot of trouble for people, and that's where I don't understand how stupid these people are to believe that uh, he's going to go to jail or something, because he's not going to jail. It's very hard to send people that are as famous as him, and he has a couple $1 billion to put him in jail, and on top of that, he's got 150 million people behind him, uh, saying you better not put him in jail. So I don't think he's going to jail. I think he's going to be reprimanded to some extent, and that'll be the end of that. But my point is, uh, if they keep, uh, the old crapping where you eat, you know what I mean? You're not supposed to do that, or where you live, uh, because it could come back to haunt you. And that may be what's going to happen down the line here. And no matter what people might say, about, oh, that won't happen. Really? The number here is 702-221-7283, 221-7283 if you want to call in. If you don't, it's okay, because I have many things to talk about, not only just Donald Trump and Joe Biden. But there were people down in Baltimore, and what a town that used to be, but that turned into a nightmare. And all of them have, because they've allowed people to get away with what's going on in L.A. with the Jewish people. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible that these people are going through that, and nobody is protecting them, and it's crazy. I mean, it truly is. It's nuts, and it's got to stop. Somebody's got to stop it. Now I heard Trump. I don't know if you heard that. Did you hear Trump telling the Koreans, the Russians, the Chinese, and the Iranians, they better not do anything before he's elected. They better not start any problems before he's elected. Um, yeah, well, I heard him say it, and I'm sure he meant it, and I'm sure they understood it, what he means. And I don't think they want to. I really don't believe they want a confrontation with Donald Trump. I don't believe they do. Uh, not that guy that everybody saw Thursday night. I don't think you want a confrontation with him because that was the real Donald Trump on that podium, and he wasn't lacking anything. He was right there on top of everything. Um, the problem with what's going on in the country, and then everybody knows it, is that you have people that really want to just destroy our country. I don't know why, but they tried to do it in the 30s with the brown shirts, and it didn't come to fruition. The brown shirts ended up, when the people got tired of it, the brown shirts ended up going to the hospitals, all the different hospitals, and I'm sure quite a few of them ended up dead in alleys, when the people finally got tired of it. And I'm sure that's what's going to happen again because, like they say, history repeats itself. You can't have people just out there pounding on innocent people. You just can't, because there are people around that are not going to put up with it. They're not going to allow you to do it. They're going to stop you, as they should. They should stop you. But the other thing I wanted to just talk about is I want to talk about the show a little bit, our show, the Italian American Radio Show and Podcast. We're going to be doing some things which I had mentioned last Sunday. We're going to be doing some new things starting not this week coming, the following week, which is the week after. We're going to be doing some other things here, and I want to start letting people know what this show was really all about, and we never got a chance to put it out to the people so the people would know what we were really doing here. And it's just not to talk about presidents or ex-presidents or other nationalities. Not right now. I wanted to talk about the Italian nationality, the Italian culture, and I wanted to speak about it in depth. I wanted people to really understand. Predominantly, I wanted the younger Italian children to hear it, and if it's on a podcast, they can look it up. It's there. The shows are there every week, and when we start, we're going to take in from 2,500 years ago, and you're going to see, it's going to gradually, we're going to explain exactly what the Italian culture did for the world, step by step by step. And it's a fabulous adventure. I want people to come along with it. Please come along with the adventure with me. And we'll see what happens when they do. The idea is to be able to have enough time. We need time. I need time to be able to do it. And what I mean by that is I need 2 hours a day with a minimum. I need 5 days a week minimum to get the show out to where it needs to be. I need a time slot that makes sense. I'm not saying that the 12 o'clock today time slot doesn't make sense. It does, because in Europe it's 8 o'clock in the evening and 9 o'clock in the evening, and that's for the Italians, that's when they start to have dinner. They eat very late in Europe, which I knew that, and I wanted to get something. That's why we had a contract with this radio station when we first started the show, and it was a 2-hour show Monday through Friday, and but with all the things that happened with the COVID, so long, because this is, I put this together almost 3 years ago, and little by little, adding onto it, it became, in my mind, it became a fabulous cultural, historical show that could be explained to people and shown to people. I just didn't have the time to do it. I didn't have the time, actually, in more ways than one, which I will get into later. But the idea is, for me, I need to get this show where it needs to be. And where it needs to be is that the people out there, Americans as well as Italian Americans, plus regular Americans and Europeans, need to hear about a culture that is just it's such a great culture. It really it was a phenomenal place to live 2,500 years ago. Of course, you can't compare that to today, but if you were living in those days, people lived pretty good in certain areas. And what I mean by that is, I know that the Romans were conquerors and they wanted to conquer everybody and pretty much did. But when they conquered the people, they didn't make them slaves and say, okay, now we're going to take everything you got off of you and you're going to be a slave for us. That's not what happened. They made them a citizen of Rome. They were part of Rome. And they built the Roman Empire in that particular place, wherever that particular place was, which I'm going to get into and I'm going to show you, because people don't know it, but that's the truth. And so as like people, well, they were medieval or they were this or they were that. Well, they probably were a little bit of all these things, you know, that savages and you name it, hired guns that they would say today, because the Romans paid their legions. They paid them to be soldiers, to stay with the Roman armies, and they were paid heavily. They were paid nicely. They were able to have families. They were able to do what they wanted to do. They were able to intermingle with different people. If they took over a country, they could marry the people there, because they made those people, they brought them into the Italian culture. That's something that I really need to get that point across. And that's something that you got to do it in stages. I can't give it to you all at one time, because you just can't, you know. But if you take your time with it and understand and listen, and I'm going to have a lot of different ways for you to see it, visual, besides me speaking about it and me having people to speak about it. I'm going to have visuals, and these are the things that I need to get done that I never got done. I didn't get it done, and for a lot of reasons, which I'll get into at a later time. But you know, besides the mask situation, you know, people wearing masks for 2 years almost, you know, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. And you know, the people that wanted to try to do something in business, they couldn't do it. And the people that were in business were going out of business. You know, it was, you know, I'll bet you over 1 million people went out of business in those 2 years. A million companies of one kind or another went out of business. That'd be something else that we got to look up. How many companies went broke because of that madness that they were pushing on people, 6 feet apart. You don't go closer than 6 feet to somebody. You didn't want to even go out. You know, you don't want to go anywhere because of it. It's nuts, just craziness. But and then to find out all of this with what they're doing now with having all of these in Congress, all of these hearings, you're finding out that it was all nonsense anyway. It was all bullshit. And well, little by little, it all gets straightened out in the end. You know, the old story. It'll all come out in the wash. Well, it does. It does come out in the wash, and sometimes it just takes longer than you would like it to take, but it all comes out. And that's what happened. Unbelievable. That's what happened with Trump. They blamed Trump for everything. They blamed him for everything. They got everybody and a mother to blame him. And then what happened? It took 3-4 years. All of a sudden, it's all turned around now. Everything that the man said was true, and everything that them misfits, do-gooders said about the man was a lie. And just to the other night, he's standing on the stage telling everybody that Trump's the liar. No soldiers were killed. Not on his watch. No soldiers were killed. Right? Not on his watch. Right. The first thing came to my head was those families down at, I think it was Andrews Air Force Base, or it could have been Dover, where they brought those bodies in, and the moms and dads were there, and he's standing there, and looking at his watch. And how could anybody forget that? And how could he forget it? Because the news people made such a stink about it. Him looking at his watch every time they brought a body out. But nobody got killed on his watch. No, nobody got killed. They're still being killed. What this guy has done. But I don't want to get into that because I don't want to get pissed at him. I'm pissed, but I really don't want to. But the bottom line is the lying has to stop, and the people that continue to do that are politicians, they need to go. So again, where I'm at is the Republicans need to get a full vote right now. Vote straight Republican. And then when the Republicans are in, then that's when the American people have to come back and say, because I will. Now we got the Republicans in. If you don't do what you say you were going to do, you're going to be out. And now we don't have enough time. We didn't have enough time previous, but we have enough time now to find out exactly who you were and who you voted and how you voted. And if you voted backing these politicians, these Democratic politicians, knowing that they were wrong and it was wrong and you voted for them, we're going to put you out. You'll get this term, but you're not going to get another term. And that's how I feel about it. What has to happen is Washington has to be cleaned up. And I mean swept, sparkling clean. With people that go there, that want to go there and do the right things. Not go there and, to become millionaires, And because that's what happens. They go there, they become millionaires. And it's ridiculous. Well, I don't want to say what I just was thinking. I don't want to say that, but the bottom line is we have a nice show. The Italian American Radio Show and Podcast would be a fabulous show around the world, not just in America. It would be great for people in Europe. You know how many people in different parts of the world are Italian or Italian descent? Millions and millions of them. And they would listen to the show, and they truly would. And that's what I need. I need to be able to get to them. I need to be able to get to the people here, but also to the people in Italy and the people in the surrounding countries in Europe, because there are so many Italian Americans, Italian descents in these countries. And I guess that's about it. I mean, enough on what I'm going to and what I want to do. I'm not saying I want to try. I'm going to really try hard to make these things happen. We'll see. We'll see if we get it done. But I'm saying yes, I'm going to get it done. Normally when I ever started something, I finished it. I don't mean that I had to set the world on fire with it, but whatever I started and anything that I was doing, I finished it. And I didn't walk away and say I've had enough and wash my hands with it. But in any event, I hope the show was satisfactory for you. I hope you enjoyed some of it. Nobody probably enjoyed all of it, but I hope you did. I hope you enjoyed some of it. And I'll speak to you next Sunday. Please have a great week. No trouble. Live good, live nice, be kind, and get yourself a drink this afternoon. A good glass of wine would be good. Some cheese and crackers. There you go. Speak to you next week. Signing off. Bye-bye.